Hey there ladies and gents, so I've got myself a Hubsan little FPV drone. So it's actually got a built-in camera that gives me live video feed from the drone as it flies about. It's displayed on my controller, which has a built-in screen. I've been messing about with this, and actually you may notice that this one's different than other ones. I've been making modifications to it, as some people seem to be, so I thought, hey, it's quite a fun little drone, so I'd have a go at actually doing sort of my own mods. The basic and obvious one so far, well, not really the basic one, but the obvious one is the antenna. Normally they come attached to the bottom where that longest slat is, with the little sort of two clips that hold it in place. To get better range, better signal, you basically cut it off and you actually work it through the frame and actually reposition it. Most people just put it round to the side here, so they have the antenna sort of off to the side as it sort of appears to be. But I've done it so it's actually central to the body itself. I've done that by actually cutting little slats through the framework. Just give me a second to open it up. But as you can see there, the middle of this is actually cut. That's where I drew the wire through. And again, the little receiver connection just there, a tiny little gold pin, it can actually turn like on its spot. So I cut a little bit more out the frame. As you can see, it's quite boxy there, but this one I sliced off the whole corner, so it's now just a very thin little strip. That enabled me to turn the connector fully to the side, which gave me that little bit more length to bring it round the back and actually position it on the top near central, but just to the back a little bit. To actually pull it into that frame, I had to poke a hole into the top with a sharp blade. Try not to poke through, of course, and again just work it through and make a little hole just wide enough for this to sit in. Also, if you're going to do the little antenna on the top, I'd suggest cutting just a little key off to the one side. So make a little channel that's about 1 millimeter thick, 3 or 4 millimeters long. This enables you to sink the cable into the framework and allows the antenna to actually sit upright on the base of the plastic on the outside, because of course the cable goes up through the middle. If you were to put it directly on top, the cable would go there first and it would sort of just sit in the air and wobble about. So I dug a little hole, made a little channel, sunk the cable in, and I used super glue to bond the antenna to the top. It did crack a little bit here and there. At one point the plastic, because I guess the super glue degrades it, but the plastic actually split. But that actually enabled me to squeeze a little bit of super glue underneath this part now, and it's actually much more solid and stuck to the framework. I have had crashes and bashes with it and it hasn't actually snapped off yet, so the little mod for the antenna seems to work pretty well. The very recent one actually that I've done today was the cables were just bugging the hell out of me. Because how long they actually were. I know they're long enough to make it easier to connect, but I think what I've done is made it a whole lot more tidier and just easier. Once you plug it in, it's in, and you don't have to faff around with pushing the cables in, because it can offset the balance. So the battery's actually in there now. I'll just move it out of the way just for the sake of. There we are, there's a little battery. For the cable, I've cut the little notch in the top of the framework just there, so the cable's actually slightly sunk into the body. This enables you to push the battery in a lot more easier, as well as pulling it out. So the little cable itself, I just bent it round, pulled the wires a little bit and actually glued it straight to the top of the framework. I've also made sure it's the plastic side up. For those who have the connection, you'll have on the other side a gap with the two metal prongs exposed. So I've had it as turn it round, plastic side up, so again just keeps it waterproof just in case any sort of drops of water get there. And of course to connect it, all I have to remember is the metal side up, which is the two holes. That's the plane side. It doesn't go plane to plane, it goes metal to plane, and that's how I sort of remember it. So this is what I've just done today, and it's so much easier because all you have to do is just put the battery in and then make a nice little neat S shape. It keeps everything very tidy. For those who might have spotted also, the very base is meant to be a little bit of plastic at the back here that apparently does something, molds the battery in or whatever. Don't know, for me it did jack all, so I just cut it off. Excess weight that I do not want. Might even look into actually removing the back end of that, because hey, it's all weight savers, so you get longer power, longer flight time, more power. I do fly with the framework because I'm not an expert yet, and I may actually just keep it on for good, because hey, it saves props, saves damage, but for now it's alright to do. So I've just cut off the back little tongue just straight across with a blade, cut it straight across, and again got rid of the stuff that I don't need. I've also, because of the weird flight characteristics of my particular drone when I first got it, I don't actually have any back LEDs. I've completely removed them. Again, this because mine had a habit of flying backwards even when set on a level surface. It could be to do with these. Maybe they just obviously manufacture them and we can't see that there's actually density differences within the plastic, and maybe mine just happens to tip back. So I removed the LEDs at an early stage, and I'm not regretting it, to be honest. I've got the front one still, so the battery still, the lights still flash when the battery's low, so it tells him what it's doing. And that's all you really need is the front ones, to be honest. Still got the little rubber feet on it. The excuse me. The mods I will be intending to do soon enough is actually putting on the fisheye lens. Currently it's just the normal lens, which you can see perfectly fine through that, of course, but when you're flying around through the FPV looking through the screen, which is what I bought it for, you don't get a sense of depth because the lens is flat. It's a flat image like the image that you're seeing right now. For my screen, there's no depth, there's no curve within the image that allows me to judge that I'm moving or have moved a certain distance, and it's a highly recommended mod, to be honest. I'll be doing that too, but I'll be doing probably it's slightly different than everyone else because I just do things differently. Most people tend to put the fisheye lens on, put the metal ring down and sort of stick it to the metal ring, use a magnet and all that stuff, but to me I'm thinking that's just weight I don't want. So what I will be intending to do is flatten down the front, just taking off the lip off here so you can put the fisheye lens more squarer to the actual camera, and basically ditching the ring and also removing the N52 neodymium ring magnet that's embedded into the fisheye lens. Because I won't want it, I'll bond the lens straight to the body. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So get rid of the weight, get rid of the metal, get rid of the magnet, keep the plastic part of course, and just bond it straight to the actual camera. Again, weight saving, gives you a long duration of flight, and keeps you pretty manoeuvrable as well, which these are really good. They do fly outside really well actually, even in a strong headwind that destroyed a 200-pound drone, or at least its landing gear, and bent the camera. But this little bad boy just survived it, just took it, bashing around, smashing around. Didn't lose a prop once, which was a surprise, but again we had soft ground. But on hard ground, yes, the props, I'd say 100% of the time, because I've never had it yet so far, all the props just ping off. You can find them in weird places, but they just shoot off, completely detached from here, without breaking, so I just go, oh, there's a blade, pop it back in the motor, and hey presto, it's good to go. You just got to keep track. If you have a double amputation like I did once, I stuck blades on the wrong side round, so the drone wanted to do that, because the blades weren't turning in the right direction, or at least tilted in the right direction to enable it to go straight up. The other little mods I'm sort of doing or working towards, for one, I've put the internal antenna. This is already inside the controller, it's just hidden underneath the plastic. So I've cut two little holes just underneath where the silver bit is, underneath there, and I've hot glued the antenna, which can be extended out. Make sure you don't break the wire, because again it's a very flimsy little wire, to be frank, but I've hot glued the whole surface just to the top half, so in this case it'd be the right half of the controller where you can see the scratches, so I'm still able to open up the case without going, oh bugger, I've just bonded the case together with hot glue on the very important piece, which is the antenna. So make sure you don't do that. The other mod I intend to do with this as well is actually putting a bigger battery in it. Currently it takes a 4 AA batteries. I've just had to go up the shop and buy some more, which is annoying me. I have bought some A4 rechargeables, so for now I'll start using those whilst I can save money, until I've decided on what 2 cell 7 volts LiPo battery that I want to get. But on my board in particular, it's actually printed out as 6 to 12 volts that the board can handle. A lot of people have different ratings on them, so what I might look into do actually is maybe push that a little bit, increase the voltage but not too high, but again that just gives me more runtime. Obviously make sure the current's good as well, make sure it's at least 1000 milliamp hour battery. I might go up to 2000, but again that current does damage as well. Voltage, you can restrict voltage if there's very little current, but when there's current and it pushes through the resistors, one component fails, it would just cause a cascade effect and just destroy everything. So again, don't want to overpower it too much. So yeah, that's just a little overview of the mods that I have done so far and intend to do to my little hubsan. Yeah, so I just record that because again I've just been doing things to it and I want to make sure that I actually record it so other people know as well. Again, just to mount the antenna, cut the little slat right in the middle of the framework, just in the middle there, and that'll enable you to guide the wire out. The little links that are here, just cut them straight off. I did initially keep them thinking, oh, I might put the antenna back, but basically no. I'm not going to put the antenna back, so I cut them off, got a little knife again, made it nice and smooth, and again just cut the notch out in the corner just to make the antenna go up there. Same with the battery, cut a little notch there, stuck it over the top, and with the antenna. If you're going to do the antenna mod, I would recommend not sticking this down first if you want to drill the hole in the top. The boards are in two halves, one stuck to the bottom below the battery and one stuck to the top above the battery. So the top board, it does come off with little screws, but it's connected to the wires that are fixed into here. So if you want to take that board off, you might have to take all the motors completely out of their housings and have all the circuitry loose, and potentially you could snap wires because they're so flimsy, they're so thin. That's just the way they are, of course, but they're so thin that if you snap a wire, just hope you've got a soldering iron with a very fine tip and a very, very, very steady hand. So that's at your own risk. So I'd recommend actually slightly digging at the top and then just making a small little hole, doing it that way around. I'd also recommend getting spare batteries. This is not the battery that comes with the drone. I've actually just ran this one flat recently, just flying. Go get yourself some spare batteries because again you'll be going through these. They don't last so long. I think the most actually I've got one out of the most I ever got out of one of my batteries was up to 10 minutes flight time. The battery did charge up to 5 volts. I don't think it's meant to go that high, but this particular battery did, and it just flew. It flew for quite a long time, but I haven't got that since. I get usually around 7 minutes flight time, and these do actually fly outside seemingly better than what they fly indoors. Although they are pretty, obviously stable wise, they're pretty stable because there's no wind, but again it does fly around for a good couple of minutes before again the battery goes. Okay then, so that's a little quick shot overview and me talking really, really fast of all the mods I've actually done so far to my hubsan, let's see, H107D yeah, FPV drone. Well, not drone really, because it doesn't have missiles. It's the quadricopter, that's the one. Okay, thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you later.